Good afternoon, Oak Grove. Happy Thursday. Welcome to this week's installment of the Midweek Update here on the church's YouTube channel, where I just pop into your device in the middle of the week to smile at you and say hello, and to try to keep the church on our consciousness for the remainder of the week that we're not in worship on Sunday morning, because that's such an important thing for us to do. So thank you for taking a moment to join me on here today. What am I going to talk to you about today? I have my coat on because I'm going to step outside to show you something. I'm right here by the back door of the parsonage, but I'm not going to film the whole thing outside because it's cold. About 2 weeks ago, in the midst of that insanely cold, bitter cold snap that we had, Julie and I started having a new visitor drop by to see us at the parsonage every now and then. We had a little stray cat that would pop up right here on the other side of the door. She was coming by in the evenings a lot of the time, and I first noticed her when she was trying to get into a bag of garbage that I had sat by the back door, because sometimes whenever it's time to take the trash out, if it's really cold and I don't feel like walking to the trash can, I just sit the trash bag outside the door. I do not do that in the summertime because, of course, I worry that when the weather's warm that critters will come up and tear into the trash bag, but I thought in the wintertime that it would be okay to do that. Well, so much for that idea, because the first time we met our little stray kitty friend here, she was tearing the bag open to try to get something to eat. But that was the message that drove home that she was really hungry. And I assume it's a she because it's a fairly small cat. And so we saw her starting to appear right here on the other side of the parsonage door more and more often. She was appearing on a somewhat regular basis. She was very, very skittish of people, but she loved to sit on the other side of the door and tease our cat. Our cat and the stray cat would just sit there and paw at each other through the door. They'd scratch and they'd whine at each other, and they were fascinated to watch each other. So I'm going to move outside now. Julie and I, we just simply could not stand the thought of just abandoning the stray to have to fend for herself. We just couldn't deal with that. So we decided to go ahead and place a box with a blanket, and you can see that the bowl is empty. A little bowl of cat food underneath the stairs of the parsonage here, right underneath the porch. And that was arguably not the best decision, because we were warned when we moved up here, you may not necessarily want to put food out for animals because you don't know what kinds of things that'll draw near the house. Well, I hear that and I understand that. However, when we had those incredibly, I'm trying not to slip on the ice here, and I'm going back in the house because it's too cold to film the whole thing outside. When we had that incredibly bitter cold snap, I just absolutely could not do nothing. I could not stand by and do nothing at all, knowing that she was out there struggling. So we started putting out food for her, and we put that cardboard box with that blanket under the parsonage deck, underneath the porch, whatever you want to call it. And that very likely may have helped to save her life, because she is still kicking. When we had that bitter, bitter cold where it was like 20 below zero with the wind chills outside, that may have saved her life. We will deal with the repercussions later of the fact that, have we now gotten her hooked on assuming that she has a regular food source to come in and out of the house? Well, yeah, she probably does. She's probably not going to leave us easily now until and unless something makes her leave. But why am I sharing that with you? I'm sharing it with you just because, I just thought that it's kind of neat to reflect on the resiliency of life, and the fact that, during these bitter cold snaps, sometimes I look outside and I wonder to myself, how can absolutely anything survive out there? And yet, obviously, it does. God's creation finds a way. Like, I sit there and I wonder, how can anything survive in these kind of temperatures? And yet, obviously, in the springtime, the animals all come back. They survived it somewhere. They survived it somehow. They found a way. It's like Jeff Goldblum's character says in the first Jurassic Park movie, life finds a way. Life finds a way. And so in this world that is often so full of death and not life, it is kind of heartening to me to see that God's creation is tough, and God's creation finds a way to survive. And our little kitty friend continues to come by She had nowhere to go, but somehow she has managed in these bitter cold temperatures, and maybe with a little bit of help from us. Um, so, it's just a ray of hope to me. It's a ray of hope when I look outside during that cold snap. Now, of course, filming this today on Thursday, the 12th, it's so much warmer now. It's in the 30s outside, but, just a week ago, it was 15 below with the wind chills outside. And again, I wonder to myself, how does anything survive out there? But she did. She did. And she survived with a little bit of help from us, too. And so it's an object lesson that, first of all, God's creation is tough and that life finds a way. Even in the harshest midwinter, there's a ray of light still to be found. There's this sweet little kitty that shows up at our door. And she's a cute little girl, and I'd show you a picture of her if I could, but she's so skittish, I don't have one. Life finds a way. That's one positive message I take out of her presence in our life. The other takeaway that I get from it, too, is the fact that we had an opportunity to serve. Julie and I had an opportunity to help. And you know what I worry a little bit about, is it a bad precedent to get into to put food outside because, now we're going to draw animals near the house. Well, I'm going to deal with the fallout from that later, but for right now, I could not ignore our little kitty friend when she stopped by the house. I just couldn't ignore her. So, how does life survive in a world that is so full of so much suffering? Life survives when we show kindness to one another. And sometimes when we show reckless kindness to one another and don't care about the consequences and say, you know what? If I draw more raccoons to the house by putting out cat food or whatnot, well, so be it. I'll deal with the consequences and the fallout from that later. But I would rather help than have to live with the guilt of not having helped. So, how does life survive during such harsh circumstances? Because life is tough and God's creation finds a way, and because we help each other, sometimes with reckless abandon. Whether it's a good idea or not, we help each other. So, I just wanted to share with you the little life insight that I get from our little kitty friend that comes to visit us at the back porch of the parsonage. I briefly thought to myself, could we possibly adopt her as our second kitty? But if she is a truly feral cat, that's probably never going to happen. Maybe she can become our mascot cat for the church, though. Maybe she can become our outdoor cat, and maybe we'll give her a name one of these days. But the littlest things in life can give you some reflections about the nature of life and the nature of things, and that's what I wanted to share with you. Something light and something hopeful today. That's what I got for you, Oak Grove. I will see you in worship this Sunday, and take care to note that after worship this week, we will be having our Shrove Sunday pancake and sausage breakfast afterwards, so please join us for that. I'll see you then. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless, Oak Grove.